Judith Jarvis Thomson, in her article A Defense of Abortion, writes a discussion arguing that abortion is not always morally impermissible. In her article, she takes her readers through her defense by adopting a common argument by anti abortion supporters that a fetus is a person. Through outlandish analogies, she refutes the claims that abortion is morally impermissible in certain scenarios.
Hey guys, is this a tree?
I don't think so.
That's an acorn. Oh.
Doesn't really look like a tree to me.
Is that an acorn?
No, I think that's a tree.
Oh.
Just as a tree is not an acorn is not a tree, even though it has the potential to become a tree. It can also be said then that a fetus is not yet a person. However, for the sake of our argument, we will still assume that a fetus is a child. With this assumption, it can still be concluded that abortion is not always impermissible.
In the upcoming analogy, Thomson defends abortion in cases where pregnancy was involuntary, such as in cases of rape. The woman in this scenario was kidnapped against her will, and her circulatory system was plugged into a stranger. The stranger, a famous violinist, must remain connected to her to stay alive. However, the woman did not give permission to have her kidneys and her body used to save this other person's. Does she have a right to unplug herself?
Oh my gosh, what is this? Who are you?
Uh, didn't you hear I'm the great violinist? Thanks for letting me use your kidneys, by the way.
My kidneys? I don't want you to use my kidneys.
Well, but I'm gonna die.
Thomson then addresses the right to life argument against abortion, stating that many present the argument as unproblematic. Does having a right to life include a right to the bare minimum one needs to live? Through the next scenario, where a patient requires the touch of a celebrity's hand to be healed after contracting a rare fever, Thomson shows how if someone's bare minimum to life requires something they have no right to inherently, there is no obligation by another to fulfill that bare minimum. One has no right to Justin Bieber's cool hand, even if it is the bare minimum needed for one to continue living. Thomson utilized the late Henry Fonda as her miracle cure celebrity, not Justin Bieber. But regardless of the individual, the point is made that a right to life does not include forcing others to act when they have a right to choose. Returning to the violinist argument, the person whose kidneys the violinist is using has a right to become disconnected from him. He has no right to their kidneys. The argument of a right to life is highlighted by Thomson as problematic, being that one's own right to life does not demand others should act against their own rights to uphold that person's right to life.
Oh no, it's crushing me.
In this scenario, imagine you and a child are both trapped in a small house. The child is growing rapidly and will soon take up all the room in the house. This would result in you being crushed to death, but the child would survive once it breaks out. The only way for you to save yourself is to kill the child in self-defense. This scenario represents a woman considering an abortion due to a life-threatening pregnancy. This means carrying out the pregnancy would result in the death of the mother. Thomson's conclusion is that a woman should not be forced to let the pregnancy kill her. Instead, she should have the option to preserve her own life by terminating the pregnancy.
Imagine that child seeds are floating around in the air outside as pollen. If any of these seeds were to get inside your house, they would attach to any furniture or carpeting that you have and grow into a child. You could make sure that no unwanted child grows in your house by not having any carpeting or furniture inside your house, and always keeping your windows sealed tight. But instead, you want to have furniture and enjoy opening your windows, so you install the best screens that money can buy to try and keep out all the pollen. But the screens are not always 100% effective. If a child were to slip in, past all the precautions, must you still raise the child?
I'm a screen salesman, and these screens that I'm trying to sell you today are 99% effective at removing all pollen. There's going to be no pollen coming into your houses.
Wow, I'm so glad I have these state-of-the-art screens installed. I love having my windows open with no pollen coming in. One windy day. What is going on here? Looks like there's pollen outside. What is this? Why is there pollen in my house?
Why do you have carpet and furniture in here? You know pollen only attaches to carpet and furniture.
But I was so careful. I installed the window screens to prevent this.